Welcome to Not Ashamed. I'm your host, Ashley Nordman. Today I'm here with special guest Erica Groussman from TruBar. She is the CEO and founder, and she's absolutely stunning. Thank you so much for being here, Erica.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I am too. I was just telling you off camera that I have been using your bars and eating them for literally years, and it's so cool. Like it's come full circle now. I get to sit here and chat with you about your brand and your life and what you've done. And I'm just really excited to share more about you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share. No, that's great.
Okay,
I know
so
you've been messaging us. We've been talking for so long and now we're finally talking, so it's amazing.
I know, I love it. And I talked to your PR team too, I think one time, because when you came out with your new like lime flavor,
Oh, the key lime.
yeah, the key lime, the team like sent me a box and it was so funny because I posted it and there were like real limes in the box and it was really hot out and the limes were like all brown.
Big fail, right?
It was either you or someone commented, and they're like, "Wow, okay, note to self: fake limes next time because those look horrible." And so I like ended up taking the limes out of the box and like just taking a picture of the box because it was so pretty. Like the packaging was so cute and the light green and like the minty colors and stuff is amazing. But I just laughed so hard when I opened the box and there's like all these cute little
Like
real limes
moldy limes.
like around the edge of it. It was like it was a cute concept, but yeah, we
Right.
forgot it was like 100 degrees and that they would probably, change colors over time.
Yeah, that is so funny. I know. Yeah, we did not think that through apparently, but
But
that's
hey, I
okay.
love that flavor, and my daughter actually does too because I always put them in her diaper bag, and she'll like steal some of it, and I get like so like I am like the most selfless person when it comes to my daughter, but sometimes I'm like, dang, I was hungry and I like really wanted that, but fine, you can have my bar. Okay, so take me back. Obviously, you're the founder of TruBar, which is an amazing protein bar company. You guys are vegan, correct?
Yeah, we're vegan, gluten-free, soy-free. There's no sugar alcohols. And they taste like amazing. That's the best part about them.
Yes, it is because usually it's like vegan anything. You're like, ugh, I'm compromising taste. It's
Right.
gonna be chalky and disgusting. And instead, like, I literally prefer those bars to ones that aren't. Oh my gosh, I hear your dogs.
I know. Sorry. I think my daughter just went outside and now they're barking. So
Oh, that's
apologize,
okay.
guys.
My dog's literally laying right here, like, who's
Uh,
barking? She's like
uh-oh,
looking
your
around.
dog is? What kind of dog do you have?
I have a lab. She's a yellow lab, and everyone calls her a grandma because they think she's like 10 and she's 2.5. And she acts like an old lady. And so she's literally
Oh,
just laying on the edge of my like love sack, just like this right now. And then when
oh.
she heard the dog bark, she like looked around and then like laid
She's
back
like,
down.
wait, I have friends? There's friends around? Oh my
Oh
gosh,
gosh.
yeah. I have
But yeah,
two.
so
So I have two. They're Porty-Doos. They're Portuguese water dog poodles.
oh, okay, cool. I've never even heard of that. I mean, I've definitely heard of poodles, obviously, but I've never heard of or is it a doodle you said?
So it's a mix. It's a Portuguese water dog and a poodle.
Oh. Are
I'm
they
sure they'll
big?
come up next to me and say hi at some point. They're like 35 pounds.
All right, so take me back. Give me a little information on like your background and your story and like what led you to TrueBar.
Yeah, so my husband's in venture capital, and so we were a part of another company that was in the same similar space, and we saw that there was a niche for something for women, right? And I would always complain that there was no bar, there was no snacks that were super clean and tasted good. And, as a mom with these little kids, you want to have on the go. And so it began that way, and began as TruWomen. We wanted something that was vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, no sugar alcohols. I didn't want the bloating. I wanted clean ingredients, and most importantly, I wanted them to taste good. So that's how it all started. I've always been into health and nutrition. My mom started at a very young age teaching me about health and how you want something to taste good, but you want it to make you feel good afterwards, right? And there's a lot of things on the market that might taste good and you think it looks good, but then you feel terrible afterwards. So
Absolutely.
I remember being like at Disney with the kids and like having other bars, when they were really little and like eating it and being like, oh, this is yummy. And oh, I'm getting like better food than what's at Disney right now. And then afterwards you're like, oh, your tummy's like out to here. And you're like, it's just uncomfortable. So our bars don't do that.
I remember those days too, because back, 10, 15 years ago, I was in the bodybuilding industry And oh my gosh, I'm sure you already know like where I could go with that. Like there was just so many like health diet bars out there and things, and you'd try it all. I'll refrain from naming brands, but there were so many that I tried and I didn't know it. But at the time, I was so sensitive to sugar alcohol. And like even like things like sucralose and like erythritol at times and like certain things like would just like really bother me. And so I could never really eat protein bars. I had to give them up because the, like, pain afterwards that I would deal with was just, like, way too much for me, and it wasn't even worth it. It was like, "Okay, cool, I'm getting protein in," but it was basically like a glorified candy bar, and it just had all this fake stuff in it that was not making me feel good. I then later realized I was allergic to gluten and dairy and had a
Mm.
bunch of sensitivities also, and so, like you, it was really hard to find anything that even had, like, remotely a good taste or even, like, 5 grams of protein. I mean, at the time, it was like a Cliff Bar or something, and even those, I
Right.
don't think were gluten-free, and so it was like, I just had very, very limited options, and even to this day, it is hard to find protein bars that are dairy-free. It's very hard for me to find a dairy-free bar. The texture is perfect, and, like I said, my daughter even loves them, and she's, like, not even 3. She's so little, and she's, like, very picky, and she, like, loves them. Yeah, it's a definite need in the market, and I'm so grateful that you guys created what you did because it's something that, like, for years I struggled with finding, and that's why I'll go out of my way and order them off your website as often as I need to. Because the second I get low, I'm like, "Okay, I need more in my pantry," because if I'm traveling or flying or, like, need something, like, it's definitely part of, like, what I take with me everywhere. There's always one in my purse.
Yeah, no, they're a great grab and go for sure. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And so, like, what made you realize that, like, sugar alcohols, for example, were, like, not it?
Yeah, I wanted everything to be able to be like read, right? Like you can read our ingredients and you can say them all, you can pronounce them all, you've seen them before, like you're aware of what they are. I knew that sugar alcohols made me feel terrible, right? It's just not good. It's not meant to be in our bodies.
I'm sure you know this because of, like, creating products, but, like, I it took me a long time to realize that sugar alcohols are actually, um, like, laxative. Like, that's basically what they are. They're, like, laxatives, so they, like, cause gas and diarrhea and, like, all kinds of, like, GI issues and stuff, and I had no idea, and actually, when I went to a GI specialist, that was one of the first things he told me. He was like, "You cannot tolerate those things. You can't be chewing gum, you can't be doing anything with sugar alcohols because it just speeds up your digestive system way too much," and I already had, like, IBS for years at this time. It was one of the first things, like, he told me was, like, "Sugar alcohols, like, need to go because they're technically laxatives," and I, like, had no idea. I was like, "Why are they putting that in our food?" It was a way to make things lower calorie, I guess, and to be sweet, like a sweetener. A lot of people do not understand, like, how much havoc that can cause on you, like, especially with your bloating and digestion if you're, like, consuming that stuff all the time.
No, absolutely. You get so bloated. That's my biggest thing with sugar alcohols. So, I was pescatarian for a long time, like seven
Oh, okay.
years. So during that time is when they were created. I'm no longer, but I still think that, you know, like I'm not against whey or it just has to be a good quality. And most of the bars out there are not using good quality. They're
Mhm,
just not,
exactly.
it's like sick cows and like it's just so you're better off with a good vegan product that's clean that you know, right? And most women want vegan. Yeah.
So, when you started your company, I know you went through, like, a rebranding and stuff because I literally, like, followed you guys from kind of, like, the beginning, and I didn't realize it at the time, but it must have been when y'all were pretty new. So, I have a couple questions, I guess, but we'll just start with, like, the rebrand. So, what made you wanna rebrand? Is it because you wanted to get in front of more people and not just feel so
Yeah, so a lot of men were like emailing us and reaching out saying like, "Oh, can I eat this? Like, is this gonna make me grow boobs?" Like, it was like all these crazy like we're like, "No, like, oh, is this good?" I was like, so we saw that that was happening, and so we knew that we kind of had to evolve to TruBar, right? So the retailers weren't really ecstatic about just having TruWomen. It cuts off half of the population, right? So, um, but it was fun for a while, and it's nice, and we still hold those values about empowering women and uplifting women. So that portion is still there, but we are TruBar.
Yeah, I think that's a smart rebrand, obviously, because, like, I have men in my life that eat them, that love them.
Exactly. No, it was a good rebrand. Yeah, it was a good rebrand. But no, more men I think are eating them than women right now, actually, our demographics. But we thought, oh, well, women are primarily purchasing for the household, like women are moms who will feed it to their kids. But ultimately it was the right decision to go with TruBar. And it's a great name. I mean,
I'm assuming like, okay, I'm a business owner
yeah.
and there are definitely so many peaks and valleys and moments where you just want to like throw in the towel. Was there ever a moment where you like didn't think this was going to work or take off, or that you ever like failed until
Like
you got
like
where you are
100
now?
times. What do you mean? Like 1,000? There were so many times where it was, I mean, my husband was like, he does not work on this at all. He's an amazing supportive husband and great father. But he doesn't help me at all with True. However, he did tell me like for years, like that's a zero, like forget about it. Like that's not going to make it. Like go enjoy, he's worked very hard for a long time, and now he kind of takes it easy and golfs and plays padel and like just lives a wonderful life. And now I'm out there busting my butt, but he did tell me for a long time like go play tennis, go do this, like just that's not going anywhere. And the more he said it, the more I was like like this ain't failing, um but there was many times where I didn't think that it was going to, but there was something inside of me, like this fire that I couldn't fail. So no matter how bad it got, it was like, what can I do? How can I do it? Even if I just keep it going for a little bit, or, I mean, I started just like driving around to different yoga studios and little like coffee places and being like, here's a box, sell it, make your money, with like a little sign and like a little like thing that I was getting from Bed Bath and Beyond, and telling everyone just like sell the bars, make your money, and then we'll talk. And I would try to get reorders from them. But I just drove around like a lunatic, dropping off, slinging bars, and that was for a while until it started to pick up. Yeah, I just thought like if I could get it in front of a yoga studio, let's say, right,
Mhm.
who they've got 30 people coming in every hour, just even having that sign with this box, with the pretty bars, our bars are so pretty that like even if one person bought one, saw it, told their friend, I just thought it would kind of like evolve into something.
Mhm.
And it did, right? That's how it kind of just slowly picked up. And maybe that's how you originally saw it. We don't even know, right? Like you could have been at some studio, because word of mouth did get around, and we started to pick up like random studios all over the country. Um, yeah, like there was some franchises that like would tell the other franchises, and so we had, you know, some like smaller gyms, and yeah, so
Where did you start then? What state were you in?
I was living in Florida. I live in Florida. I'm in California right
Okay.
now, but I live in Florida. My parents live in LA and my husband's whole family does. So every summer we'd come to LA, and so I would sling them here too. So it wasn't like I was limited. Anywhere we went on vacation, if I was in Arizona, I would go and like try to hit up all the little spas or this and that. Um,
You're a
so
hustler. I love
yeah,
it.
I made it like my identity. I was a mom for many years, and like, I built our house. Like I still did things, but I wasn't working. I didn't have like a normal job. And so True became my identity. Like I had to see it through. I just, yeah. And now it's my third child. And now, the third child's like it's going to middle school. It's like in high school almost, I don't know. But it was a baby for a long time with diapers, and really hard. Had really bad colic.
So when did you get a deal with Costco?
So we started in Costco, Canada. We had one
Okay.
rotation, and that was actually during COVID. Um, and it didn't do as well as we hoped, but obviously everyone was like locked up and didn't want to do anything. So, and
Yeah.
then, and then we transitioned into the US, and we got like, I still remember the first Costco deal we got in Canada. It was like the biggest deal ever. And it was two trucks, and it was like over like between the time of Christmas and New Year's Eve, and it was so stressful. And now we deliver like two trucks like nothing. Like it's like you know. But so we transitioned into the US and we picked up a region here, a region there, and we just started to do really well. And Costco's an amazing partner. Like, I can't say enough nice things about them. They're really happy with us and we're happy with them. And so we're in every single Costco currently. And right now it's the cookie dough, peanut butter and jelly, but we were cookie dough and donut for a long time. So we're in discussions about going international with some great partners. I want to also just, kind of get all the doors, right? Like, Publix is in my backyard and we don't have that yet. So I want to get Publix, Wegmans. I grew up in upstate New York. Wegmans is like the best grocery store ever there.
I used to live by like Binghamton for a little bit, if you know where that is.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I would go to Wegmans every single day, I feel like, and it's like, unless you know what Wegmans is, like, you
You
don't
don't
really
get
get it.
it.
It's, like,
I
so
know.
good. I love
I know.
that.
That's like Air One. Have you ever been to an Air One?
I have not, but I obviously hear such great things, and, like, I listen to, like, people that have podcasts in LA that always talk about going there, and I'm like, "It must be great."
Air One is like, it's so posh. Like, you go there and you go get in line for a smoothie. Not only are there like 40 people deep, but then they're like $28 for a smoothie.
Oh, I'm sure it's just, like, outrageous, like, you spend
It's,
$60 on, like, a
it's
little cookie or
comical.
something.
It's comical. Like, your kids and like they became this sensation. So like my kids, all they do is want this like smoothie, and it's just hilarious because it's the Bieber, and they have like this valet. Like, it's free valet to go to an Air One.
What
You
in the
know,
world? This is not a grocery store, is it? This is like a luxury, this is like a Louis Vuitton.
it is. It's a Louis Vuitton grocery store. It's regular, but it's higher end, right? It's just nicer items. I mean, we're in there, but just like duh. But they're just really picky and only high quality, good items and like cool. It has to be chic.
Yeah, you gotta be, like, trendy or,
Y-
like, yeah,
Yeah,
something different probably. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I feel like Erewhon or whatever just, like, popped up out of nowhere, like, all of a sudden, everyone just started talking about this, and I was like, "Actually, it's pretty genius if there's a market for it."
yeah, yeah. I feel like they've been around for a while, but they
Oh, really?
definitely, yeah. Because I feel like I remember them like over 10 years ago, but I think they only had like one or two locations, and I don't know. They just like I don't, the celebrities always went there, but I guess now with TikTok and Instagram, it's like more visible, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably it. I bet you, like you said, it's probably been there a while, it just wasn't, like, as popular on social media, now it's, like, a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
People make probably, like, a trip out of it to go out of that like, to go to one.
Oh no, it's like the place. Like, if I was a single young man, like there's just girls everywhere and they're all like, fitness. Like, it's like I think there's a lot of dating going on from the store.
There's a lot of dating happening in Erewhon. If you
It's
live near one, go there. That is screw the
it's
dating
like
app.
it's like a
Go to
dating
Erewhon.
app. They should have their own. Meet you in aisle 7, 6 o'clock.
Carly, hey, are you here? Yeah, buy the potatoes.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yes, that would be really funny.
Yeah, you
What are
totally
you
could.
wearing? Oh, blue aloe set.
We'll get back to the podcast in just a moment. This episode is sponsored by AN Skin, your answer for all things skincare and beauty. Our medical grade products, made in the USA, use high quality ingredients and are clinically proven to give you clear, healthy, youthful skin. Everything is cruelty free. Visit anskinbeauty.com to shop now and regain your confidence. Now, back to the episode.
I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. I have a 10-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, she's going into 7th grade.
7th grade was, like, the hardest for me, I feel like, because it was, like, I was a preteen and I had, like, big feelings and big emotions, and I was, like, very like, I thought I was grown up, but I wasn't.
The way you just worded that is like a very good assumption of how all 12-year-olds are, right? I think it's hard. Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard learning how to, navigate your emotions.
Mhm. Exactly. And, like, to realize that you're, like, still so, like, young and have so much to learn, but for whatever reason you feel like, okay, well, I'm independent enough that I can like do this myself. And it's like, no, you really can't yet.
Right. Especially this day and age, like they can get, remember us? I don't know, like when we were young, and I know I'm older than you, but like you had one option, like pizza or pizza at nighttime, right? Like, and like you didn't have money. I mean, I didn't have money. Like if I had money, it was like I had $5 on me because my parents always told me to have something on me, but it was like less than $5 when I was 12. And these kids now, they have like their phones, which has all access to money. They can go to Starbucks, they can go, it's just they're so independent. They can order food, whatever they want. You know, it's crazy. It's such a different time.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm sure phones and all of that have really like exacerbated it too. Cause I don't even think I had a phone when I was 12, which nothing against it. My daughter will
No.
have one probably in a couple of years, but it's like, it just changes everything. I feel like they just like grow up a lot differently than we did because they have
Yeah.
access to more things and the
And
like
social
standard
media.
has kind of changed too. Yeah, social media and the expectations, and there's just so much more like pressure now because everybody's like documenting their life, you know?
I know. Every second.
It's kind of wild. Do your kids deal with like being bullied or anything at all?
So, my daughter's like stone, so like nothing gets absorbed. Like she could care less if it could happen, like, and she wouldn't even like, she probably wouldn't even notice, you know? She doesn't have that. My son is super sensitive. He's like this gentle giant who he's really big. He's like a big kid. My husband's 6'4", and so he's always been so much bigger than all the other kids. And there was a kid who like kind of bullied him last year, but it's hard to bully him because he's so big, right? Like he's a giant compared to everyone. But he was getting bullied and he was upset about it. But overall, in general, he's the kid who's like protective of everyone. So his friends are all smaller than him and he really takes care of everyone. You know, that's a big thing in our house, especially, you know, Mark was always the biggest kid. Um, and like still the biggest kid, my husband, Mark, he's 6'4". So like even though like and he's always protecting always the underdogs. And so that's a big thing that we always talk to the kids about is like protecting your friends and you know, don't allow that. And kids who might be getting bullied or you know, and maybe you're not friends with them, but you should always watch out for them and make sure that those mean kids aren't, you know, allowed to do that to other kids.
I feel like I was a lot like your son, where like I internalized all of that stuff and it was really hard on me. And he probably stands out because he's taller and bigger than all these other kids. And like I stood out too because I just like looked different. Like I was in that like awkward phase where I had like a big gap between my teeth and my hair. I didn't know how to like handle it at the time. So it was like very curly and just like a big frizzy mess. And like I was transitioning from being like a tomboy my whole life because I grew up on a farm and I like always hung out with boys and I was always outside in the dirt. So I was just like very like I didn't really care about what I wore. You know, I just like wore whatever. And then like going into like junior high, you start caring a little more. You want to be more girly. Like my girlfriends, you know, would wear a little bit of makeup or like wear cute clothes. And that's when I was like, oh, I probably should like do that too, you know? Cause like I started to want to be girly because I was starting to hang out with more girls as I grew up. And so I just think like, you know, kids are so mean. And when you're just a little bit different, even if it's a good different or not, like they're going to pick on you for it. And so I got bullied from like kindergarten on and in junior high especially because it's just that's when kids start just getting ruthless, you know, they get big opinions and if you're not like fitting into this like mold like that they
Right.
expect you to, they're going to start saying stuff. And I was probably a lot like your son where like I just have like I wear my heart on my sleeve. I like want everyone to love me. Like I love people and so I want to be accepted myself. And I just like dealt with that a lot in grade school, especially in junior high. Like 10 to 12, really, like where your children are right now, is like probably when I was dealing with it like the hardest. And then well, it actually got a little worse in high school for a second, but it was because of different things. But like the majority of it, I think, was like in my like junior high years. And so I love that your son is like protective and like wants to like make sure like everyone is like safe and taken care of, and that you like instill that into your kids, because like looking back, I wish I had someone like him, even though he was bullied a little bit. It sounds like he still like kind of stands up for himself, seems, or like other people at least. And like I never really had someone in my corner like there for me when I was struggling.
So do you feel like you're a lot stronger now today
Yes. And
from
I definitely talk about this a lot because I think like people don't understand like how much it does affect you when you come from a past of that. And in the moment, I feel like it's just like anything in life. Like when you struggle, like you're always like, this doesn't make sense. And then later it makes sense. And like that's exactly how it is for me. Like in the moment, I had no idea why that was happening to me. And then looking back, it makes all the sense, because it's like it was definitely to help me realize like you can't try to seek happiness from what other people think of you, and like you have to like find that within yourself. And it took many years of me worrying way too much about what everyone else thought about me to realize that like at the end of the day, people are going to think what they want to think. So you just have to be happy with you and learn to like boost your own self-esteem and find that confidence within you. And if people are going to hate on you or something, then it's just like in one ear out the other, it doesn't matter because I know who I am, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Like it happened almost like for a reason. Unfortunately, you had to go through it, but now you're stronger and wiser, and you learned it. So, it's instilled within you.
That's the one thing I just worry about. Like, that's kind of why I brought it up, because like my daughter's almost 3, and I just like worry about when she gets into like grade school or older, like just like how these kids are these days. It really scares me
Mm.
because you just want to protect your children, you want to just make sure they're safe and that they have positive influences in their life. And the second they're out the door and at school, like you can't really control that anymore. And that's the one thing I've learned to kind of have to let go of. But I just think as she gets older, it's going to be tougher on me because I know what the kids were like for me growing up.
Did you watch 13 Reasons Why?
Okay, isn't that a book
Oh, it was
also?
a book. I didn't read it, but yes, it
Okay.
was a book.
So I read that book years ago, and it was the wildest book. Isn't it where a gal like commits suicide from being bullied?
Yeah, she committed suicide.
I literally remember this because I remember reading the book and just being like baffled that I don't know, the whole thing was just wild. I didn't know they had a movie on it. Or is it a movie or a show?
I think it's a show. I think it was a show on like Netflix or I don't know, Apple TV or Hulu. I don't know where I watched it, but one of those. Yeah, it was a show. It was maybe like 6 seasons or something, or 6 shows.
Oh,
Really good. But I
wow.
started to watch that with my daughter because it's important to see like how things can get like spun around, right? Because her whole story was like she didn't do anything wrong. Like she liked a boy and she went to a playground with him one night because he asked her to, and they like just pecked on the lips, and someone took a
Yeah.
picture of it. And then she was going down the slide, and her skirt flung up a little, but she was going down the slide so innocent, and someone took a picture. And then they said that she did something more, and it was just like a series of like unfortunate situations that happened that she did nothing though. Like there was nothing she actually did that was bad at all in the
Yeah.
slightest. But because they were all like switched around, being kids, saying mean things, and the telephone game, right? The stories told here, there. And so yeah, she ultimately committed suicide, and it's just so sad. So I think about that all the time because, we're at like the orthodontist, and, a girl's got, some skin issues, and, maybe a little awkward in her weight or whatever, and just got big braces on, and, maybe has like rubber bands. And, it's just like you could just say like one sweet thing to the girl, and like it just lights them up and changes their whole day. So it's like so important to just say nice things, and you know especially if you see someone who maybe feels like how you felt when you were younger, in that awkward stage. Like we all were in awkward stages at one point or another, and how important it is just to give them a gentle compliment, right? Just whatever, like, oh, that's an awesome sneakers, like, or whatever, like, I love your t-shirt, or whatever compliment you can give. If she's wearing a bracelet, you tell her Awesome her bracelets. Give her an extra smile, and those can really like change, uplift someone. So we
Yeah,
talk about that a lot.
that's such a good like reminder. And I love that you talk about that with your daughter and son. Like I'm definitely gonna have that conversation with my daughter because you saying that actually reminds me like it kind of like sparked something in me. Cause I'm like, maybe that's why I like always go out of my way to compliment people. Cause I know what it felt like always being like attacked and only being told like negative things. And so like, even if I'm in the Starbucks line or something, I'll, like, compliment
Yes.
the, like, barista or, like where was I yesterday? Oh, I went, I had a meeting with a med spa, and this lady, like, got me a water up front, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I love your boots." I didn't have to say something, but I did, and it was like her smile was just so big because she just felt so, like, appreciated for, like, the nice outfit she had on, and it's just, like, little things like that, I think, feel so good, obviously, lifting someone else up, and I have this huge sign, like, in my four-way here that says, leave people better than you found them because it just like reminds me every day to always leave people in a better headspace or mindset or whatever than when you met them because that's like the opposite of being bullied, really.
And that's like such an easy thing to do. Like there's no stress off of you. Like it's just the easiest thing that you can do to be nice to someone or to put
Yeah.
something positive into the world.
Exactly, and everyone
So
wins, and I'm sure just like, being a business owner, like, everything in life is about, like, energy and, like, what you attract and, like, how you
a
present yourself,
thousand
and if you're
percent.
being, like, a negative light, like, you're not gonna bring success, you're not gonna get deals with big brands like Costco, like, that kinda stuff,
No.
it's all, like your energy is very important in, like, what you put out there, and so if you're speaking goodness, like, of course, good things are gonna happen for you too.
Yeah. No, no matter what. I always say that actually, like speaking about how you're talking about that. No matter what happens, like no matter what shit hits the fan, it's like, okay, how can we solve it? Like, let's not stress or dwell on the problem. Like, all right, so what are we doing? Like, and with a smile, I'm like always talking, anyone could call me with anything. And like they comment on how I like handle it so nicely. Like, I'm like, okay, like I still have a smile. Like, all right, now what are we doing? How are we going to solve this? What's going to happen next? Because if you just get like mean and angry, no one wants to help you.
It's just on your ability to, like, be rational too. If you're angry, like that emotion is going to take over all the other emotions. And so it's important to just like maintain like
Yeah,
calmness. So yeah. And same thing with being
right,
positive. Like it's important because if you're being negative, like you're not going to be in a right mindset to make good decisions at all.
right, right. Yeah. So
I'm glad you understand that too.
positivity,
Like, yes,
positivity.
it's important part
It's so
of
important.
life, yes, and being a mom because I feel like it can be so easy to, like, just wanna be like, "Oh my god, this is so hard, life sucks," and it's like but it's not, it's just like,
It's just part of it.
yeah, things just happen, things come up, and, like, that's just life, like, it's we were made for this.
Right. That's right. Like it makes you stronger, like anything that you have to go through. So you just have to find the positive in it. I
Yeah,
agree.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, it was so nice to get to know you and to hear more about your story. And
Thank
I
you.
really want to give you a shout out for having the best bars on the market because
Thank
TruBar
you.
is definitely my favorite. And if you're listening, you need to try them out. Is your website trubar.com?
Yeah.
Yeah, TRUBAR
Yep.
.com. And I know you guys have what, like a sampler packet or a sampler? Don't you have a sampler thing that you can try or
We
no?
we don't not right now. We plan to have some variety packs, but we don't right now. They're just 12 packs. So,
Okay, 12 packs. I thought at one
yeah.
point you had like a variety pack or something because I
We
thought I bought one.
did a long time ago. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay,
See,
yeah.
you're the OG girl.
But if you guys wanna try my favorites, you gotta try the donut or the OO cookie dough or the new key lime pie, that one's amazing. I mean, they're all amazing, they're really all good, they're so
Mm,
good.
they are. They're really good. Yeah. And we have more flavors coming soon. So,
Oh, you
um,
do?
yes.
Oh my gosh. Like this year?
Probably this year. Yeah. So,
Well, thank you so much, Erica, I appreciate you so much, it's been so nice to talk to you, and we'll have to chat again sometime soon.
no, I looking forward to it. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, be loud, be proud, and be shameless.
For more information, visit us at anskinbeauty.com to shop all our medical grade skincare.